and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. And now, it's time!
And welcome everyone to the Circle Debate Championship on the Line and EYR MMA podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This is the host, Stevie's One Ivan C, here with my other host, Mi Familia, the greatest MMA podcast in SoCal. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying it right. And let me go ahead and introduce, of course, the minus of pain that brings the pain to you in that cage, if they can, if they want to. I don't know if they're retired. I keep on saying that. But yes, I have Richard and Alex Mares from Championship on the Line podcast. And of course, the coaches of all coaches, because he will coach you to take the rage in that cage and bring some pain. So make sure you follow this man. Get your guidance, the wisdom, the Yoda himself, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Rage, ladies and gentlemen. EYR, ladies and gentlemen.
Higher, baby.
That's right. There you go. That's right. So we are here, ladies and gentlemen, to give our recap for UFC 274, Oliveira versus Gaethje, of course. Man. But before we even start with the main card, gentlemen, let's start with, what I ask everybody about the early prelims and prelims. I know the fight of the night was Royval and Matt Schnell. That was the fight of the night. I missed it, unfortunately. I heard it was fantastic.
A great fight.
That's what I heard overall. So I'll take it to you, Richard. Let's go ahead and start off. Which one was besides that fight? I'm pretty sure it has to be another fight that you were like, oh shit, it was phenomenal. On the early prelims and the prelims, which one did you enjoy out of those?
The one that I missed, it was on early prelim card, is before the ESPN one, was Andre versus Cameron Van Camp. It was like a first round KO. I think that was like the only KO in the whole preliminary card out of like the 1, 2, 3, 5 out of 10 fights. It was like one KO out of the 10 fights. So I guess I would pick that would be one of my favorites.
Oh, and that was performance of the night, right? There you go. Yeah, performance of the night.
Mostly decision, for the prelim card.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of noticing that too. It was mostly unanimous and split.
Yeah,
for the early
one
ones.
sub and one KO.
All right. Okay, Alex. What about you? Which one your highlight for the prelims?
I'll go with the same with Andre because I mentioned him the last episode that we did, and I remember I told you guys that he was the fighter to probably watch in the whole prelim card and got the first round KO. I mean, this guy ever since the Pereira fight, man, he's been improving in every single fight. So, he's looking really good, and the guy's got hands, the guy got power. So, got him in the first round, and can't wait to see him again.
Absolutely, Coach. Which one are your highlights?
I want to talk about Lupi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she looked phenomenal. So the way I know her, she was the LFA strawweight champion. And I have a lot of connections with LFA. And LFA is the biggest feeder league into the UFC. And so a lot of LFA champions make it into the UFC. And Lupi looked great in the LFA, but she keeps getting better. And this last performance, she was dominant. She was just amazing. And so I just want to shout out and say good job, Lupi.
Awesome. Hell yeah, definitely. Awesome, man. All right. Yes, of course, the director's not here.
And if I can, I'm sorry to
go ahead.
You talked about Schnell and Royval.
Yes.
That is how fights are supposed to look. That's how they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if our audience knows this. But when there's a fight, the way it's supposed to happen, one person is supposed to win and one person is supposed to lose. And you're not supposed to pussyfoot around. You're supposed to get at it and go. And the best fighter or the luckiest fighter wins. And that pace and that intensity, that's how fighting is supposed to be. So,
absolutely.
There we go.
Words of wisdom from a coach. You see, that's how a fight's supposed to be, ladies and gentlemen. That's supposed to be. Now let's get into the main card of this fantastic event. Wait.
Can I ask one question real quick? Sorry.
Yeah.
Rage, do you think Roval gets a title shot next, or do you think he's up there?
He's made a case and he's in contention. I don't think he's next in. Well,
he could. Yeah, he could.
He could be, because that division is really thin. Nobody wants to see another rematch. And I think Dana even said he's not doing the rematch of Brandon and
well, Moreno's gonna fight France, and that's gonna be for interim.
Right.
So
what's with Figgy? Is Figgy injured? Is he out?
I think he's injured, yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Royval is definitely he's up in the rankings and he's on that short list. So
yeah. I mean, they still haven't updated the rankings yet.
I didn't hear what you said. Yeah.
No, he's exciting. He's exciting.
Oh,
and,
yes.
They'll put him up there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I liked that fight. Liked what I saw. Mm-hmm. Schnell went out and went after it, and Royval dealt with it and then snuck in the submission, and it was nice. It was good. That's how things are supposed to go. Yeah. You're supposed to fucking bring it, fight. Last man standing. That's how it's supposed to fucking go.
Ooh, absolutely. Yeah, we're still waiting for the rankings to be updated. They haven't updated as of yet. I mean, but by far, they already at least saying who's going to go up and who's going down. That's already what I'm looking at here, especially for that flyweight. I mean, and you mentioned Car Friends. I mean, that's going to be the next number 2 in the flyweight, which will fight Moreno, I guess for the interim, and then you have Pantoja who moved up. And let's see, Asgard's Asgard, you could say, is at 4, and unless right now Royval might move at 4. Most likely.
When is that fight happening with Car France?
Let me double check that. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the next one for 275. I'm not quite, or 76. I haven't really looked at that. As a matter of fact, I don't know. I don't even think they even announced it. Have they, Richard, Alex? Have they announced it or no? You guys know?
They announced the fight, but not they don't know what card yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't know what card yet either, right? Oh.
Okay. Who do you guys like for that? So one of my fighters, his name is Luis El Toro Moreno. So we usually pull for Moreno, but I like Car France.
His stand-up is good too, I think.
Man, he sleeps people at 125, right? That's impressive.
Yes. Oh man, indeed. All right, now let's get into the main card, gentlemen. So as we know, Cerrone pulled out in the last minute because he ate some tacos, I guess, the night before. I don't know where he ate some tacos, but he got food poisoning. As Dana mentioned in the post conference, they tried to do the IV, did not work, so they had to drop the fight. But eventually, they will have it. They will reschedule that fight. So they replaced it. So one of the prelims, which was Randy Brown and Chaos Williams. Of course, Randy with the split decisions. Of course, I'm going to go all around. So I'll go to you, Richard. Your thoughts about this Randy Brown and Chaos fight?
It was a close fight. I know I was kind of in and out of it, but it was a split decision. Even Alex and I were talking during the fight. Like, it's close. Brown looked pretty good. I mean, so did Williams. Like I said, it was 29-28 each, and then finally Brown got the decision. But I mean, it was a good fight overall. I liked it. It was real technical, and they were throwing here and there. So I thought Brown did enough to take the W.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too. I agree. I feel that the fight was Brown looked good. Brown looked great. Chaos was okay, but I think Brown overall he deserved that win for me. I mean, that's just my pick because he did those 3 rounds were great. But in the beginning, it was kind of so obviously they're fitting each other out. But I'm glad for the upset pickup win for Brown. Alex, your thoughts about that fight?
I was kind of looking. I expected a little bit more from Chaos in this fight. I thought he was going to bring the more, especially with the, coming from that highlight knockout, went viral, and he was kind of feeding off of that, and I don't know. I expect a little bit more from him. I feel like there was opportunities for him to kind of steal the round because there was times where Randy wasn't really doing much. There was times where both guys could have took, hold of the fight, but I just think Randy kind of gave the fight to Randy, and Randy took advantage of it, got some points and got the win. But yeah, I expect a little bit more from Chaos. So, but good win for Randy though, for sure.
Yeah, definitely a good win. Coach, thoughts?
What I enjoyed was when between or right after round 1, in the beginning of round 2, Randy came out and was a completely different fighter. So whatever his corner said to him, whatever happened, I think in round 1, Randy was concerned about the power. I think Chaos won round 1, and then Brown won the second 2 rounds after that. But after Randy felt the power, tasted it, said, it's not that bad. Let me remember who I am and let me go out and show who I am. And the other thing, like that height and reach advantage is really, really difficult. And Chaos, he's not terribly slick. He's not really, he's not slick. So he had a hard time getting in that reach. And then when Randy really started moving and cutting angles and using the long game, Chaos he was outclassed. And then related to that, I just want to say, getting food poisoning when you're in a state of dehydration, when you've cut weight and then I think we've all had food poisoning. Yes. Where you're exploding out both ends, you're shitting and puking at the same time, absolutely miserable. But you're already miserable, you're already dehydrated, and then this is just like that's awful. So yeah. I felt really bad for Cowboy, but I also was happy for Chaos and Randy getting bumped up to the main card. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Indeed, I agree. I'm glad they got their moment of shine, at least now in the main card and in a pay-per-view event. So I'm happy for them. Kudos for them to their performance, especially for Randy. So I totally agree 100% on that, Coach. All right. And the one that I told you, Alex, fight number 2. What did I tell you?
That's BS.
I said OSP. It was not BS, okay? It was
Shogun
not.
won that. I don't care what you guys say. Shogun won that.
Excuse me? We're watching the same thing? Because I don't know.
Really?
I mean,
listen,
Alex, it's possible that you could be right because I fell asleep through portions of it. So
Oh, Jesus. I love it.
That was a warm-up raise. That was a pre-nap for...
How dare you guys, man? That's a legend you're disrespecting.
What? Oh, man, he needs to retire, man.
No, are you what?
Well, he's got one. He's got one more. He's got one more. He's got one more, and then he's done.
All right, one more, and I feel the same for OSP too. I feel like,
and we don't have to watch it.
That's very, very true.
But I'm surprised that OSP is not talking about. No one's talking about his retirement because he's just as moldy. He's just as far past his prime. And honestly, OSP is kind of fucking boring anyway. Like,
yeah,
and now it's just like, all right, still got that
in better shape
than last time. Yeah.
Well, he was heavyweight last time, right?
right? Oh,
That's
but
true.
in his defense, it was all the COVID nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
man,
Yeah.
scam-demic. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying about that.
Yeah, there you go. Right? But I have to agree with you, Coach. I mean, yes. I mean, it was okay fight. I honestly did not expect it to go more further than what it was.
I don't think it was an okay fight.
You know, I could just say it was okay. But that's all I can say. I can't add more to it. There's nothing I can't say, oh, what a great job. No. It was done. I think this fight for me was just to, like how Richard mentioned, a pre-nap or a bathroom break. And it sucks because these are two legends. But, I mean.
Whoa, one legend.
Jesus Christ. You got to give OSP.
I don't consider St. Brooks a legend.
You know what?
OSP was a tune-up fight for John Jones pretty much in his career, and that's the highest point, sadly.
Mm-hmm. Sadly, unfortunately. But go ahead, take it away, Richard. Yeah, go ahead. Finish it off with this one.
No, just saying. I mean, OSP. I mean, he was a Strikeforce vet. I mean, he goes to the UFC. He gets his opportunity, and sadly, the one thing that sticks out during that whole moment when OSP was getting his title shot versus John Jones was, I think it was one of those UFC countdowns, and he goes back to like his hometown where he's playing college ball.
Oh
and
yeah.
They have like a big parade for him, and OSP is back in the house, and this and that. And the coach is like, "Hey, welcome back. Who you fighting?" "Oh, coach, I'm fighting John Jones." And the coach literally went, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Like, oh damn, really? You're fighting him? Like, even he knew, like, oh, there's no way. That's bad when your own like people like are saying, well, good luck, pretty much. And that kind of set it for pretty much the rest of his career. I mean, he's a talented athlete, and he got far and he made his money, but I mean, this shows where he's at his career. He beat Mauricio Shogun right now, by split decision?
Yeah.
Which are around the same age, but Shogun has so many miles on him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had some wars in Pride, and then we talked about Dan Henderson fight, just overall career. And he has a spectacular career. He had Pride champion, UFC, and I'm glad he's retiring. And hopefully he wins the next fight, and he just goes off and rises up to the sunset before he hurts his career, you know?
You guys know about dog years and cat years?
I think dog years is every 7, right? Every year, 7 years, right? I don't know about cat years.
Same thing with fight years.
It's true.
Right.
I know what you're saying.
So in fight years, Shogun is like 137, right? So yeah, it's like it puts the miles on you. It does.
Yeah.
The one thing I do want to say about OSP, his contribution is we've changed the name of the Von Flu choke to the Von Prue choke. So I think that's an important contribution.
There you go. Any more input, Alex? What do you got for us on this one? Since you want to go ahead, Shogun won the fight.
I thought Shogun won it too. But I mean, I think Alex and I are so kind of blinded, but like we're kind of heavy favorite Shogun because he's such a legend. We saw him in person when he was in his prime, as light heavyweight champion. So it's kind of hard to see him like this. That's why I think we're both a little biased at Shogun won. I still think either way Shogun did enough to win, but I don't know. I don't know if Alex feels like that.
I see how Alex feels about it. You got nothing, huh?
We know how Alex feels about it.
Go ahead, Alex. The floor is yours.
No, I thought so. Really, how I feel about it.
Okay, yeah. All right, Stephen A. I'll let you. I'll pass you on before you go. That's blasphemy. I already know. I already know before you go that way. Anyone else, Coach? You want to put any last input on this fight?
Not on this fight, but I will repeat what Dana White said. Never leave it in the hands of the judges. That's a directive. That's a directive from the top. That's how the fight game is supposed to go. And so many coaches and so many fighters, but they don't listen. They don't go out there with the one bell mentality to go out and finish your opponent no matter what, get it done. So that is going to be a reoccurring theme tonight.
Absolutely. All right. Let's move on to the third fight of the card. And of course, we had Chandler defeating Tony Ferguson with a KO on round 2 with a front kick. Jesus Christ, man. Oh, man. Well, I'm wishing Ferguson a speedy recovery. I do like the fact that Chandler at least gave him his respects. And, when he came out on the Pat McAfee show, he gave him a lot of respect. And then, like, well, no, I love what Ferguson has done for the division itself. He's a legend. He made the lightweight division himself. Ferguson is, with his credentials and such a legendary career he has in that division. And now, with this win, man, impressive. If performance of the night, it was especially from Chandler. So I'll take it to you, Richard. Your thoughts about the fight, and what do you think is next now for Chandler after this?
I thought it was an awesome fight. You could tell by how I'm smiling. I thought it was great, especially with the last two fights. They were kind of like so-so, and Alex and I were sitting at a pizza place with friends and watching the fight. And pretty much, it was like a library for the first two matches. No one was really excited till they saw that kick. I think even the chefs in the back of the restaurant running to the front to see that knockout because it was just such amazing. And it just shows how Chandler, how well-rounded he is. I mean, he could just throw a kick out of nowhere. I think he learned it from Steven Seagal because I heard something about that. But other than that, it was awesome. That kick came out of nowhere. Tony Ferguson has nothing to be ashamed about. It was a tough fight. He looked good in the first round. He even rocked Chandler at one point, and he showed hey, I can handle it. I'm in it. And I'm like, this fight's gonna go decision. It's gonna be a fun fight. But he came out of nowhere, and that kick landed, and that's all. That was all she wrote. I mean, he went limp. I think before he hit the canvas, he was pretty much out. It was hard to see him leave the cage, and you see him he's trying to leave and go to the back room and get checked out by the medical staff, and you see Chuck Liddell come up to him and trying to lift his spirits, but you can see he was on the wrong side of the track, and that was kind of hard to see. But other than that, I mean, kudos to Chandler. I mean, Chandler looks great, and I don't think he's gonna get a title shot immediately, but hopefully he fights. I would like to see him fight Diaz. I know Diaz has been yapping his mouth left and right, calling at everyone, and I would like to see that.
So this is where you guys went to pizza places. This is when that kick, you guys were. That's how you guys were, right?
Yeah, it was quiet. It was pretty boring the first two fights.
Pizza slices dropping everywhere. The drinks were dropping everywhere.
It was ridiculous.
Love it. All right, former champ Alex, talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great fight. Obviously, great knockout. Great win for Chandler. And then you kind of wonder what's next for Ferguson. We did talk about, if he does lose this fight, what's next for him? Where does he go? Unfortunately, I just think in this point of his career, he's just getting really hurt very bad now. It's getting to a point where it's like his last two fights were stoppages, right? He lost, besides the Darush, I think it was a decision. But, I mean, I don't know. It's getting to a point where how much damage could he, take? Because every fight now he's pretty much getting hurt, and it's getting worse and worse. So it's like, what's next after? Should he retire? Should he keep going? I mean, I don't know. I think if I was him, I would probably consider possibly maybe retirement, honestly. Mm-hmm. At this point, if he's trying to look for a title shot, I don't think he gets one in the near future. He would have to rack up some big wins to maybe be in the title picture, but it's just, I don't know.
I don't see that anytime soon at all. I don't see that. Especially
he could be like kind of like we're like Cerrone, like main attraction, especially prelims, fight prelims, like spice up the card, put up Ferguson. But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, indeed. Coach, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So I know Tony. We're not like close or anything, but he could pick me out of a lineup. This one was rough. I'm a Chandler fan, actually. When Chandler first came over from Bellator, I was just like rolling my eyes. I'm like, come on, man, you can't compete here. And he's proven that he's a great fighter. But the reason I'm a fan, his mic work and his motivational speaking, his family life, like he's somebody that I point to, and I tell my fighters, learn all the other stuff, learn the mic work and Yeah, like there's a lot to learn here. The fight stuff, we got that covered, but the business and the fanfare and all the other stuff, Chandler's a great guy to look to. But Tony, I do consider Tony a friend or at minimum an acquaintance. So to see that happen, it was more catastrophic than I expected. When we talked about it, I said he was going to lose by doctor stoppage. I thought he was going to get pieced up and ground down and be cut open and bleeding so much that it would have been stopped. That's what I envisioned, and honestly, nobody could have predicted Chandler throwing a front kick to the chin and putting Tony into another dimension. So I think Tony's going to be mad if he hears this, but it's time for him to stop. Each time he comes out, he's a little bit less of the superstar that he used to be. So he's on the decline. And as Alex and Richard have already illustrated, or he's got a lot of damage over the last several fights, and it just gets a little bit worse and a little bit worse each time. Who's Chandler going to face next? I think it's going to be McGregor. I think it's going to be McGregor at 170. There was just too much warm reception from everybody. Dana, Connor, the fans, and right now, the way the lightweight division is working out, he's got to be put on the back burner. But Dana doesn't want to waste that moneymaker, right? So that makes sense, and it makes dollars. So that's what I think is going to happen there.
I mean, for me, I get it because it's a household name with Connor. And then not only that, but we'll talk about the main event because the other individuals will call out Connor as well. But for me, what's intriguing is what Richard mentioned earlier, Diaz. I think if the way how rumor your window, I mean, Diaz just say, all right, it's a go. He wants to go at it. He accepted the challenge. Now we don't know yet if it's going to be official. They're all depending now on Dana White if he booked that fight or not. But I think that fight will be more for me, in my opinion, will be more intriguing than the Connor because I mean, for me, I get it. Connor's a household name, and it's just that's what it is. But what he delivered, what he used to be back then, I don't think so any longer. I think he should just stay put, focus on promoting your whiskey and everything else. Mm-hmm. You're done fighting in the octagon for me. That's just me. I know, but I'm for that.
I think he beats Chandler.
Yeah, stylistically, I think
it's a perfect matchup for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we put it that way, in statistically and analytically, yes, I agree. I feel that Connor could beat Chandler because he'll catch him. Because we all know that Chandler's, his critique, what he's best at is the first round. He's looking for that first round hitter quitter. That's all he's looking for.
Kind of similar to like Eddie Alvarez back in the day.
Back in the day. Exactly.
Yeah, except Chandler has phenomenal wrestling.
Yeah,
phenomenal wrestling. So
yes,
he
never uses it, though, right?
Right, exactly. But he can come out and use it, and Connor's got nothing. That's nothing. True. So, and then you get to sell it as classic striker versus grappler. Yeah. See, look, we're already talking about it.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait. Oh man, once the announcement is made, I want to. Oh well, then I cannot wait to talk about that. All right, man. This is another fight that I have no words to say because I believe all of us in the group chat we were like, "What the hell we were watching?" Honestly, I was even looking at the guy next to me at the bar, like, what the hell are we watching? I'm like, who
the fuck is that guy?
I was just like that, I was just like, for me, a disappointment. I really have nothing to say about this Namajunas and Esparza fight at all. I mean, the only thing I can really give my input, I just want to.
I knew
can
it.
say it was 2-2. No, I mean I chose Namajunas to win. Did not expect
I
the
think we all
performance.
did.
We all did. The performance was not there. Period. Yeah, 2-2 apiece, I guess. But what were you doing though? Those 5 rounds though, especially the last round. What the fuck? Like it was just. I don't know what was going through Rose's mind. It felt like she didn't want to be there. And the same goes with Sparza too. Seems like she didn't want to be there either. It just did. This could be the lowest performance overall of this card for me, in my opinion. Highly disappointed, and I am hoping that we do not get a rematch of this. But it seems like we're gonna get it eventually down the line. But I hope we don't. I hope we don't because this was disappointing. I don't want to see that. That's just my opinion of it. So take it to you, Richard. Take it away.
No, you pretty much said it. You know, it was kind of a tough fight. I don't know. I just thought I'm really curious to see what Ray's gonna say. I don't know if maybe it was just too much respect. I don't know if like she just couldn't pull the trigger because Carla has defeated her in the past. And even the corner was kind of wacky. How like it was like the 4th, 5th round, and Rose's corner was like, "You're doing great," and they're all smiles like, "This is it. It's the 5th round. Like have fun." And I'm like, someone's gotta light it up. Like she's not doing so well. And then all I can say, right? Dan Thomas pretty much said it after their first round. I think Dan Thomas said everyone lost that round. Everyone in the crowd lost that first round, like even the fans, because that first round was just terrible. And then pretty much went on. And, Carla had her moments where she went for the takedowns but couldn't really keep her. Maybe that won her the round because, hey, she got one takedown a round. And, she tried to defend it. She popped up pretty easily. But from there was not much of an exchange. I'm curious, too, what you guys think, because I was looking at, like, all these tweets and everyone's, comments and criticism. Eric Helwani said this the day of the fight afterwards. He said, "I actually find the criticism of this fight to be off base. It's a super high-level fight, a ton at stake. They can't all be rock'em sock'em robots. Is it the most action fight ever? No. But the tension in the chess match is intriguing, and I'm not trying to be a hipster."
What the fuck was he watching? What was he watching?
And he is a hipster, so what the
fuck?
But I kind of get what he's saying, but like, oh man, it's kind of like I'm trying to compare like other fights, maybe like the Dan Severn and the Shamrock fight where they listed as the worst fight of all time, but now this one takes the cake back in the day. Try to compare it to like the Super Bowl.
Do you guys know the story around the Severn Shamrock?
No, take it away.
Yeah, go ahead, Richard.
Oh, pretty much. If you could correct me, I think there was like no strikes or something, or no close fist strikes. So it was pretty much a wrestling match. So I think they called them the ballroom dance or whatever.
Yep. So basically, back then, that's when John McCain was starting to do dirty politics and get the UFC banned on cable, and it was being illegal in different. So it was very hard to put the show on, and the venue that they were at, the athletic commission, and they've done this. They actually did it to me. This very same thing. They waited, and they made the promotion think that the event was all good, and then 2 hours before the event, they said, "Oh, by the way, pancrase rules. So you can open hand, but there's no closed fist strikes." And then basically what happened was towards the end of the fight, both the fighters were like, "Fuck it, we'll pay the fines." And P.S. they never paid the fines.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I it's not my turn to talk yet. So.
Well, we're saving you best for last. Coach is best for last. Go ahead, Alex. Take it away.
How do you follow up that?
What is the follow? Add more shit to it of what it is. Sprinkle that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it was. I mean, it's crazy to say this, but man, this Esparza's 2-0. I mean, she's beat her twice already. It's crazy to even think that, but yeah, Esparza's beaten her 2 times already. Like I said, it doesn't make sense to do a rematch. but they probably will. I don't know. But yeah, Namajunas, I don't know, something like it's kind of like she had like a mental block type of thing. I don't know. She just like, I don't know, like it's kind of like what you said. She didn't want to be there. She didn't do enough to like. There's opportunities for her to do something to pressure the action more, but just there wasn't any response to it. Esparza kind of took advantage of it, kind of, I guess getting points by throwing something, even though it didn't land it, but just for her, and then I think Esparza even took her down, right? A few times. Yeah. So just her doing that won the fight. So, I mean, good for Esparza. I mean, she's a 2-time champion now, so pretty good for her.
Yeah.
First and last.
But not the way I think she wanted to win by that.
Yeah.
That's the only other thing too. Floor is yours, Coach.
Oh.
Okay. Let me start by saying I know people, and if you're watching this and I offend you, I'm sorry. Coach Greg, I'm sorry. Pat, sorry. Carla, I'm sorry. Rose, I'm sorry. But if you haven't heard this from somebody close to you, reality check. You guys need to hear this. So I do think that this was the worst UFC fight. It won that. It is the worst. So I think in the running, I actually think that Shamrock and Severn wasn't the worst. I think Lewis and Ngannou was the worst.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah,
I agree.
But the reason that this displaced Ngannou and Lewis, because even though Ngannou and the reason that fight shit the bed was all Ngannou. Lewis was hurt, but Lewis was trying to fight. And even though it was boring and Ngannou kept disengaging and running away, there was always the chance of one and done. There was always a chance that somebody was going to land the big shot because both those guys can land the big shot. Well, in this fight, that's not. You're not going, oh, any second now they can knock each other out. No. So that's why this was the worst fight in UFC history. I think Pat Barry needs to separate. I think he needs to support Rose as a husband, but he needs to get out of the head coach position. Even now, he's going, talking on MMA Hour and giving all this like nonsense defending the game plan. First of all, she stuck to the game. She stuck to the game plan. Wrong fucking game plan. And if you can't figure out that it's a wrong fucking game plan in 10 minutes, then get out of there. So there's some mental and emotional dysfunction happening in that relationship that doesn't belong in this business. But this business is full of it. Had Rose gone out there and fought, she proved that she's better everywhere than Carla. Everywhere. MMA wrestling, Rose is better than Carla. Straight wrestling, Carla's one of the best in the division. But MMA wrestling, Rose is better.
Yes.
On the ground fighting, submission grappling, ground and pound, Rose is head and shoulders better. Striking, it's not even comparable. So the reason Rose did not win is because she was running the entire fight. And people were mad that one of the judges scored 4 rounds for Carla and 1 round for Rose. That's how I gave it. That's how I saw it. Carla was trying to fight. Rose was not. So how you're supposed to judge is effective striking, grappling, and octagon control. Well, there was no effective striking and there was no effective grappling. What's left? octagon control. Okay, well, Carla has the center of the cage and she's trying to fight, and Rose is trying to not fight. Okay, well, so there was one round where Rose went out and kind of fought, and that was the 5th round. And the fanboy in me was watching that going, oh, okay, she waited for the last round, and she's going to go out there and finish her, and we're all going to be like, oh, and it was like, oh, you put her against the cage and kind of took her down, and then you threw your hands like, and then to keep defending, like, y'all fucked up bad professionally. And man, I hate it when, so like, do you remember in the corner when Pat was like, hear them, they're booing. That means you're doing it right. No, fuck you.
That was weird.
Those people fucking paid to watch this. You are stealing
their money
from the fans and the company, and you're fucking committing fraud and theft. It's that when you fucking go out there and run away and disengage and patty cake spar and not fight, you're paid to fucking fight. Period. And entertain. And when you don't do that and say, fuck the boo birds, never mind the fans, they're not the ones in the cage, they're the ones that paid you to fucking get in the cage. So this entire card was actually really, really upsetting for me. What happened to Tony, what happened to Rose. We're going to talk about what happened to Justin. And I was literally depressed on Sunday. It fucked me up. But so that's why I'm kind of yelling at the screen right now. But so
hey, I'm glad it's not virtual reality. We can throw a punch and then probably punch. Wanted to happen.
The thing that Carla needs to hear, she already knows. And Colin, Coach Oyama, love you, respect you. But Rose is objectively better everywhere, and she should have won the fight. But she chose the wrong game plan. Whatever the fuck happened up here, and Carla won the fight. Carla is the champion for now. But the history's going to repeat. Who's next? Is Joanna going to take? Who's next? You got who is next? We got Joanna.
You got Zhang at number 2. You got Marina number 3. Mackenzie Dern at 4. Yan at 5. Andrade at 6. Nina at 7. Tisha Torres at 8. Mandarin was at 9.
Yeah. So the top 3, Carla cannot. She can't.
No,
she can't compete with him. She can, and probably. Man, Mackenzie Dern and Carla Esparza. That's a good fight.
Yes.
I
would love to see that. Yes, I would love to see that.
That's a good fight. I would give the edge to Carla, depending on how much work Mackenzie is doing with Jason Perillo. Man, we're way off topic. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's just, because we needed to add this, because honestly, this fight, you words of wisdom, everything you said, 100% agreed. They need to put someone who is worthy of a title contender. I'm not saying that Esparza is not a worthy.
Carla earned her shot.
Yes.
But then the one thing that we did see over the 25 minutes is that Carla's no longer that caliber.
No.
The other thing, this rematch is not going to happen.
No.
It's not going to happen. Dana's pretty much as much as said it. But Carla, by the time Rose comes back, if Rose comes back, because the mental and emotional problems that she has consistently, and what she's dealing with now, and all that real life shit, she might be done fighting. That's always been a possibility with her. She might just walk away. And the way she was talking in the press conference, oh, what, I'm supposed to mess up this face? Yeah, that's actually in your job description. In your job description. And Pat Barry talking about grandma on Zoom and black eye. It's like,
Weird.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
The cornering was odd. I mean,
here's what Carla is the champion. Carla is not going to stay the champion. Whoever fights her next beats her. If it's Joanna, if it's Wei Li, and who's number 3?
Marina Rodriguez.
Rodriguez could be a good fight. Okay, but there's no way Carla stays in there with Joanna. There's no way that she can stay in there with Wei Li.
No.
I think Wei Li is going to be champion again. So then the rematch between Carla and Rose is not going to happen. If Rose comes back, she's going to fight whoever she needs to fight to get to the belt. Okay. I think I've said enough.
No, I'm with you, man. I think all of us are digressing that the disappointment that this occurred. I know. Look, we're not, and one thing just to clarify to all of our audience as well is that we're not disregarding mental health issues, none of that. But also, I mean, if going back, let's go back for a minute. Think about this. Go back about what the fight with her was that in the first place. She wasn't really also mentally there as well. She did not expect her to win that title again. She was having conflict issues, mental issues. She wasn't full, like watching those embeddeds, watching her prepare for that fight. Didn't seem that she was mentally there. Yeah. And if that's the case, how you mentioned, Coach, then retire. There's no reason for you to participate in the octagon at all anymore. If you're having those type of mental issues, then don't participate. I get it, money talks, but mental health is first before your actual physical body.
So if I can speak to that, Ivan, fighters are fucked up. That's why we fight. There's Wonder Boy who's not a psycho, had a nice family upbringing and cool. All right. He might be the exception, but fighters are fucked up. Fighters have impulse control problems. They have psychological issues and they have emotional issues. That is part of this sport. So I'm not disregarding or speaking down to, but it's part of the fucking job. And understand that the thing that got you into the cage is a double-edged sword. Your toughness, your tenacity, your bravery, your courage, your willingness to fight and fight through shit has to be applied outside the cage too. And you don't have to fix your shit until after you retire, but you have to learn to manage it and channel it.
There you go. Yeah. Well put.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's and I'm speaking to anyone that is a fighter or thinking about becoming a fighter. It's the exception to the rule. The rarity is somebody that doesn't have mood disorder, personality disorder, impulse control issue. If you don't have that and you're still thinking about fighting, you're the weird one. You're the weird one. But there are some guys that are athletes. So we got Alan Joban and Wonderboy Thompson. Okay, awesome. Everyone else pretty much is a psychologist fucking checklist. Okay. Impulse control issues, yes. Rage issues, yes. Fuck.
Here comes Cosmo and Darren Till.
Right, there you go. But man, yeah, I mean, we'll see what's next for this, for this weight division itself, and hopefully we will get a title contender for Esparza, and I'm hoping it's Zhang. I choose Zhang to be the next one. I think she's ready for it, unless they put her against Marina.
Now,
that
isn't the fight with
fighting-
Joanna and Zhang already made?
Yeah.
It's already
Yeah,
made.
so,
Yeah.
Okay.
so that's the title eliminator. Whoever wins that gets Carla.
Yeah.
I think it will be Whaley that wins that.
What's going on, Kofi? We live, baby. What's going on, brother? Thank you for tuning in. All right, now let's get into the main event. And yes, I was. Oh man, I was the one happy. I was the one. Yeah. Oh, I'll show you. Okay, let me show you how I was when I saw that. I was like,
God.
yes, I was like. That's how I was fucking Ned Flanders because I was happy that. Oh man. Let's talk about this, ladies and gentlemen, and that is, of course. But let me bring briefly before we get into the actual fight. Unfortunately, Charlie did not make the fucking weight. I don't know how the fuck you did not make the weight. Did you eat a heavy breakfast, buddy? I think, come on, eat Jesus, and you also try to bust a cornmeal with a towel. You tried all that. Did not work at all, buddy. And unfortunately, Mr. Oliveira's title lightweight championship was taken from him. And now
we don't have a champion.
we don't have a champion as we speak right now.
In the most stacked division in the UFC, no one has the belt. There's some irony there.
Yeah, definitely. There is. Kobe say, let's see what Kobe say. He's like, oh, I know that someday gonna get that kick. Someday gonna get that wig split. Kobe, ladies and gentlemen, I love it. But yes, unfortunately, Mr. Oliveira did not make the weight, so the title is vacated. But the fight will still continue. And, of course, Oliveira winning, of course. Ah, man, first round submission. I want to get my out of the way. I need to get it out of the way because I swear, look, I was shitting him because he did get caught. Gaethje did caught him in the beginning.
Twice.
Twice. Yeah, I forgot the second one. You're right. But then, man, this proves to me that Oliveira is the man right now in this division. He's the man. And he has a chin. Gaethje, unfortunately, has no chin now any longer. And another thing I wanted to add to this, and people underestimate Oliveira. People underrate him. Like, he's underrated when it comes to striking. When it comes to, people underrate him. Like, they don't think that he's a striker. But this fight proved that he can stand toe to toe, excuse me. And taking the hit twice, like you mentioned, Alex, from Gaethje. Man, Oliveira's a man, and I'm happy that he went up to Dana White. Where's my belt? Where's my belt? You're the number one contender, buddy. You're the number one contender. That's all I gotta tell you. Make weight next time. Yes, Charlie, please make weight next time. Whoever you're gonna fight next, which we'll discuss about that after this, because I want to get everybody's thoughts. Who should be the one taking the other spot? But yes, I'll take it to you, Richard. Your thoughts about the main event. And were you like Ned Flanders? I know it was heartbreaking. You chose Gaethje. I know you did.
It was tough, man. It was tough. The moment that fight ended, Alex and I just walked out of that place and went straight home. I didn't want to hear the interviews, the posts, whatever show. I just wanted to get the hell out of there. No, it was tough. I mean, it just shows how Oliveira, like, you give him a small window of opportunity, he'll take it. And he weathers the storm, and his mind is clear. He'll take the punishment, and usually people take the punishment. It take a while to recover, and he's recovering pretty fast, and he's clear-minded, and that little window comes, and he takes advantage and submits you like he did that night. I mean, it shows the same, kind of like a repeat, a little bit of when he fought Chandler. I mean, you give him that chance, and there he goes. He'll get you. But we always saw it. I mean, I thought Gaethje was gonna go and try to finish it. I mean, he rocked him twice and sat him on his butt, and he didn't go for it. I thought that was his best chance. But that shows how much respect these guys have for Oliveira's jiu-jitsu. And it showed with him getting the submission. And another part, too, Gaethje never really recovered. As soon as he got rocked, he got his back. He had a split second, like a millisecond, where he broke the hold. And he just rearranged it and just cinched it even tighter. And we all saw that because I'm like, oh, he got it. And it just gave Oliveira, okay, I'll get it tighter this time. Now I have it. And that was heartbreak, man. that was hard, to see that. You see Gaethje come out with Vicente Fernandez bumping. I have a couple of beers in me. My inner Mexican is fired up. Canelo's fighting the same time. Canelo loses. Gaethje loses. I'm a pissed off Mexican, and I left that night. But other than that, I mean, hats off to Oliveira.
You should have just. Hey, I ordered a fucking shot of tequila after that. Like, hey, Marquis, I just celebrating right now with this win right here for La Raza, homie. That's right. Even though that Charlie is Brazil, Portuguese Brazilian, but still, we're still part of a Latin culture. This is me. But all right, Alex.
Down and I left.
I figured he threw the wings out. I mean, why not? I mean, he left Buffalo while he's stomping out of the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go home. I know, Alex. You joined him to talk to us about this. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I was disappointed. I'll admit to it. I'm a Gaethje fan. Been a fan of his since his days of World Series of Fighting, killing it there. So obviously it was hard to watch, especially when you think like, oh, he got it. Oh, again, he's gonna finish it, and and then somehow Oliveira gets his hand raised. But somehow, I mean, Oliveira, man, geez, if I could have a chin, I would like to have Oliveira's, because geez, for him to continue, man, and get knocked down and come back and to get the submission is just crazy. I mean, but then again, one thing too, like I just noticed when Gaethje caught him, he started to get a little bit sloppy, a little bit. He started to drop his hands a little bit, especially when Oliveira was pressing the action. He would back off and drop his hands, and I did not like that, especially, with Oliveira coming forward. He started kind of, I don't know, for some reason when he fights backwards, he does not. He drops his hands, and I saw that when Khabib fought him. When Khabib was putting the pressure, he puts his hands low, doesn't put his hands up, and it's a habit that he never really fixed. It's the same thing he did with Oliveira, dropped his hands, and Oliveira caught him coming in. And like I said, I think Gaethje does not fight well when he's back against the cage. And that's what happened. Oliveira caught him, and then, Eaters, got the choke, and that was it. I mean, it was sad to watch because I thought Gaethje was going to end it, but I mean, hats off to Oliveira, man. Got the win, and yeah.
Definitely. Hey, I'm with you, by the way, what you said about Gaethje dropping his hands. I never understood why he does that, but maybe Coach will probably elaborate us and probably give us his thoughts of why does he do that. Or I know, knowing Coach, he probably will tell him, keep your fucking hands up. Pretty sure you'll tell. But best for last, Coach. The floor is yours.
So, first of all, the fight itself, objectively, if we don't care who wins or loses, the fight, it was a good fight. They both went out there, they both went after it, and somebody won, somebody lost. It was a good fight. Oliveira clipped Gaethje first.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gaethje's power was compromised. So when he dropped Oliveira survived. And then he got and dropped him again. Oliveira survived. Also, if we are to assume that what we are shown on Embedded and the different media, Gaethje was making training errors in his program design. There's fuel system training. So there's 3 different fuel systems that the body utilizes to create ATP and energy for muscular contraction and exercise. LSD, long, steady distance training, endurance training, or aerobic training. If you do too much of that, you start damaging your output, your power output. So MMA and boxing is often misunderstood and believed to be an aerobic sport. It's not. It's an anaerobic sport. It's an explosive power, strength, speed sport performed in an aerobic environment. So the training that Gaethje did, he did too much long, steady distance training, too much cardio training. And I think it damaged his power, so he didn't have as much power to actually knock out Oliveira, and the fact that he got clipped first. I also think that Rose's performance primed Gaethje to have a bad performance. I think it affected him a lot more than anybody realized, because you've got that disappointment, negativity, confusion, heartbreak in your locker room on your head coach, and you try and shake it off, but we're human. We're easily influenced by many factors, especially factors that have high emotional charge. So I think it was a perfect storm for Gaethje to lose. That's not taking anything away from Charles Oliveira. He is the man. He performed flawlessly. He straight up dropped Gaethje and went immediate. He went in, dropped the hammer. The punch missed, and he slid right to back control. So the transition and the fusion of his striking to his jiu-jitsu, he does it better than anybody I can think of. And Oliveira uses his jiu-jitsu right when we're talking about MMA, because there are a lot of people in MMA who use jiu-jitsu like jiu-jitsu and not like jiu-jitsu for MMA. They don't blend it. They don't wobble the people first before they go for the submission or the position. So Oliveira, I'm sorry, my internet hates me. Oliveira is really good, and he did a great job, even though I picked Gaethje, and I'm a Gaethje fan. Oliveira kicked ass. So you guys think that Makhachev is next?
And this is where we're going to want to talk about, because who should take, this other spot for the vacant lightweight championship? I think we talked about this last week. Should they make Dariush and Islam? Should they make that? Because by looking at the rankings right now, it hasn't been fully updated, but still go back to it, just looking at it. Of course, Oliveira has 1. Poirier at 2. Gaethje at 3, which it should be Islam at 3, that's confusing. Gaethje should drop to 5, in my opinion. Put Chandler at 4, and then Dariush at 5. So, then you have Dos Anjos at 7. You have just Giuseppe at 8, Connor 9, Ferguson 10, which all this is going to change anyways. It hasn't been updated. But you have Rafael Vicev at 11, Arman at 12, Dan Hooker at 13, and Garmart at 14. But honestly, the only one we can really talk about is really Dariush and Islam. And if you want to add input Chandler in this, but I don't think he deserves to get a title shot anymore. I think he needs one more fight at least to be a title contention, in my opinion. Yeah. I feel that if I were Dana White, which I think he won't do it, because I think he's gonna I won't be surprised if he does put Conor in this damn freaking title vacant. If he does do that, I will be pissed off, because I know he's doing it for the name and because the money. We know it's because the money. It's the money of it. But I hope they make Dariush and Islam to fight for the contendership and take the other spot against Oliveira. And, I'll ask all of you. I'll start with you, Richard. Should that fight happen, or who do you think deserves to be in that other spot along with Charlie?
Pretty much that title eliminator with Dariush and Makhachev should happen, and then the winner goes from there. I mean, I don't mind if Conor and Diaz don't step in or whatever. I don't mind a rematch with Gaethje and Chandler. I would like to see that. But other than that, it has to be either Dariush or Islam. Pretty much, winner of that should get the title shot.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, I agree.
Feel the same way too, right?
Yeah.
Coach, do you feel the same or different?
I feel different.
Oh, I think, all right.
I think interim title or actual title should be Oliveira and Islam. So Makhachev So the Dariush and Makhachev fight was made. Dariush fell out.
That's true.
Let's
You're right
go.
about that.
Let's go now. You can't just let Oliveira sit on the shelf while and there's not that much interest in Bernal and Islam. There's not that much interest in that fight, but there's a whole lot of interest in getting somebody to have a belt. And if we look at the win streak and the strength of schedule, Islam actually has a better win streak and a better strength of schedule than Charles had when he got his title shot. So there's plenty of arguments to make the fight, but for the fans, for the momentum, for the weight class, make the title fight. And I think Chandler versus Conor at 170. I think Islam versus Oliveira for the title. I don't know what to do with Bernal, with Dariush. But he's there, and he deserves a shot. He deserves to stay up in the rankings. But he take a fight, get paid, and you can challenge for the title after Islam beats Oliveira.
Yeah, I think I know. And I wasn't exactly going to say that because you mentioned. I feel that if that fight does happen, I hate to say it, as much as I'm a Charlie fan, but his luck will run out with Islam. Islam is no joke. We've seen how since he came back, man, the guy, Jesus. Well, there's nothing we can say more than what he already has proven, and he's hungry. And I think if that fight does happen, if Dana White does make that happen, then guaranteed you will see Islam being the new lightweight champion. And I hate to say that, but I think it will happen. That's just my opinion. I know I love Charlie, but damn, okay.
There's a couple scenarios I can see. Charlie getting the striking with Islam. He's a better striker. Yeah, I can't. You're not going to stop the takedown of Makhachev, and you're not going to catch a submission off a shot. So the one scenario that I could see happening with Oliveira is he tags him up, wobbles him, forces a bad shot, and then is able to capitalize with a guillotine or a darce off the bad shot. But I can't see another scenario. But most likely, Makhachev is just going to steamroll him and ground and pound and decision win.
Yeah. What about you guys? Do you guys feel the same, or you guys pick to differ?
Oh, first off, I don't think he should fight for a title. I think he should fight a top 5, rank 5 opponent, which he hasn't fought.
That's a good point.
He hasn't. I mean, his last win was against Bobby Green. I don't think a win over Bobby Green gets you a title shot. I think Dariush will be a good test for him. I think that's
it was an execution of Bobby Green.
Yes. It was a major execution. I don't know why that happened.
You said he won a fight that the last fight he won was with Bobby Green. I was like, he executed Bobby Green. It wasn't even a fight. It was just a one-way execution.
Yeah, but Bobby Green is not a top 5 opponent.
That's what he's saying.
But first of all, Bobby Green fought him in 2 weeks' notice, and Bobby Green's not a ranked opponent. But I mean, yeah, I think he fights Dariush.
Yeah, but see, you gotta understand, according to what Coach just mentioned, that you can't have Charlie just sitting there waiting for for this fight, because it does take quite some time. And I mean,
I think he probably wants that though. I think he wants a vacation, honestly, especially after these fights. Wouldn't blame him for all one. I think even he wants his belt back.
He wants his belt back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but do you really want him to wait that long in order for this fight to happen?
Yeah, but then again, though, it makes money sense if Islam fights Dariush for interim or wherever it is, and then fights him for a title or whatever.
No, I get you. It does make sense. Like, statistically, yes, I'm not disagreeing. But once again, what I mentioned again, it's just like what Coach mentioned. The major concern is, where do you put Charles at? Is the major concern. You can't have him just sitting there. Something needs to happen now, because that momentum is going to go away if he just stays there. And while he's waiting for these other two individuals to fight. I mean, yeah, I would love that too to happen, but I have to go with Coach. I might as well change my mind, because he made a good point. What are you gonna do if he's just gonna have him sit there and just, sitting down, probably gaining weight again or not losing the weight on time? And by the time these two guys are done killing each other, and let's see who wins. And guess what? That momentum, that adrenaline, it's not gonna be for me to say.
Just put him against Connor.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
Connor
that makes
Islam.
sense. Put him against Connor. Put him against for a title. It makes both sense, because if Connor was to beat Oliveira, then put Connor versus Islam. You know how much how many people will buy that?
That's true.
That's a good point. That's interesting.
Yeah, I like that. See that?
Come on.
What about you, Richard? You haven't said a word. What are your thoughts? Come on, man.
Just pretty much the same. I mean, I'm just a big Conor fan, so I would love him to jump and get the title shot. And like Alex, I was thinking when I was saying that, just a perfect story of fighting Islam, the whole rivalry with Khabib in his corner and everything. But
that's
I mean,
also a very good point.
Yeah. I mean, something from like a soap opera. It's spicy, and I want to see
it. Oh man, I can't wait, man. I'm hoping we hear the announcement soon. Hopefully we get something as soon as possible, because I feel that Oliveira right now is the man in that division. I think in order to prove it completely, I think if he does beat Islam, let's just say Islam they put him right away, right? If he beats Islam, that's it. He's the go-to be for that division. I don't know who else could be contention in that division.
Yep.
I mean, there isn't anybody else. We can say Darush, but nah, I'm sorry. It's not.
Do you put him over, if he does that, do you put him over Khabib as one of like greatest lightweight?
I can't do that. Not to Khabib. I don't look. Even I hope Khabib could come out of retirement because of that shit. You beat my boy. I need to come out of retirement, and I'm gonna have to whoop your ass.
Right.
That would be phenomenal if that does happen. If Oliveira beats Islam and looks at Khabib, come on. You want to come out of retirement. You want this belt. I beat your protege now that you left to take over that division. Did not happen. So now the Mr. Miyagi needs to come out of retirement and come fight me for this belt. If you want to be the GOAT. Because I know Charles, which I know he has sportsmanship a little bit, not really, but if he wants to dig deep into Khabib, he'll throw that to him into his face in the octagon. And I guarantee you, and then Khabib will be like, fuck this, I'll come out of retirement just to prove a point that I'm the GOAT and why I left this division. So that could happen too. I mean, that would be fantastic to see that happening. But we'll have to wait and see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, there you have it for this recap of 274. Just make sure you guys follow these phenomenal podcasts right here. And, of course, the incredible coach himself. Make sure you follow him on all the social media platforms. And also, you want to be an EYR, hit up Coach Rage. He's looking for the baddest motherfucker, the baddest bitch in the planet to train, to be his protege and put you in that cage, to take out that rage and put that in some pain. That's how I see it, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure, follow Coach. And Coach, any upcoming events? You said June 25th, but anything else coming up?
Yeah, June 25th, we've got Fighters Rep again. And that's as far as our schedule goes out right now. So we're getting viewership or listeners in Brazil.
That is right. Yes, so, we are getting Portuguese.
All right. So anyone who's listening, obrigado. There you go.
There you go.
And yes, I also want to go ahead and thank, of course, Richard and Alex. Make sure you follow them as well. Championship on the Line podcast. as they provide not only just pro wrestling, but also boxing and MMA. And, well, I mean, I didn't see the Canelo fight. If you want to just throw right quick before we end the show, go right ahead. Go ahead, Alex Richard. Let the people know.
Yeah, Bivol got the decision win. Yeah, look good. I mean, like you said, it kind of copied a little bit of Golovkin's little game plan going in. I just wish for what Canelo could have done to win the fight, jab. I needed more of the jab. Canelo did not establish the jab. I would like for him to throw more combinations. He looked like during the fight he was just doing one shot at a time, trying to land that big shot. But again, it's like he could knock out guys in the middleweight division, but once you face a light heavyweight, a bigger guy, and a guy that could take the bigger punches, it won't be effective. Yeah, I just wish Canelo would have thrown a little more combinations, used the jab. Bivol kind of put him against the ropes, through some really good combinations and won him the fight. And Bivol looked good too. So, and again, I told everyone Bivol is even though he's 19-0, guy could fight. He's always a world champion. Yeah, Bivol looked really good.
Oh,
so if I could
go ahead, Coach. Take it away.
Congratulations to Taylor Ramsdell, who was Bivol's strength and conditioning coach. He was also Alan Joban's strength and conditioning coach.
Nice.
So good job, brother. That's I want to shout him out.
Yeah, man, it's a big win. And yes, again, thank you to all of our audio platform listeners, especially in Brazil, who's making this MMA podcast, really high for you guys. We thank you, even though we don't speak Portuguese, but thank you so much for listening. And I'm glad you guys are listening very, 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 very much. We appreciate it.
And I said thank you in Portuguese. Obrigado.
There you go.
I said thank you.
What he said.
What Coach said. What Coach said. But we're going to see what we can do for you guys as well. We'll see if we could come back and maybe, I know that 275 will be in June 11th, which we have Glover Teixeira defending, of course, the light heavyweight championship versus Shiri Porshaka. I don't know if I'm saying his last name correctly. I don't know. Help me here, gentlemen.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's hard to say.
It's hard to say his last name.
Prohaska, I think it's pronounced, but
okay, Prohaska. And then we also have Valentina Shevchenko defending the women's flyweight versus Talia Santos. We have Zhang, of course, she's fighting against Joanna. Oh, okay. This card is pretty stacked. Okay. It's Youngwoo Chao versus Joshua Kulobayo. Jack Delia Madalena versus Ramazan Emif. Jacob Malcolm versus Brandon Allen. Kenyon Ho versus Dana Barcagre. I can't even pronounce the last name. Orion Koske versus Mike Matea. Ramona Pascual, Jocelyn Edwards, and Leah Nang versus Silvana Gomez Juarez. Wow, this is June 11th card. Woo! I am looking forward to talk about that. But I would love for you guys, and I'll ask here on the live show, would you guys like to cover I know this weekend we do have Black Witch fighting against Rakic. I know that for sure. We could possibly maybe next week we could cover the next fight, which is Holly Holmes versus Ketlin Vieira. She's fighting next Saturday for UFC Fight Night. So, and then you also have Santiago Poncebino versus Michelle Piera and Eric Anders versus Park Jung Young. So we could probably cover that next week. We'll probably be here next Wednesday. Let's talk about it. Might as well, because June 11th is far away. So might as well let's bring in more flavor to the MMA podcast, the best on SoCal, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about some UFC Fight Nights. Why the hell not? Let's do that. Why not? But cool. There you have it. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you all for tuning in and for listening as well. We'll be back next Wednesday. We'll talk about this UFC Fight Night. Holmes and Vieira. I'm looking forward to 3 fights. Why not? Let's talk about it. And then any upcoming MMA news that we hear as well, we'll discuss about that. So once again, it's the host of DB's One Ivan C here, of course, with Mr. EYR himself, the Coach Rage that brings that rage in the cage, the pain. Coach Rage, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you follow him. You want a coach? He's the man for you. Just get ready just to take some pain in that cage for sure. I can tell you that right now. And of course, the Modest of Pain in themselves, because they bring the pain on their podcast with MMA, boxing, and pro wrestling. So make sure you follow Championship on the Line. Richard Alex Modest. Championship on the Line podcast. As we all say to you guys, good day, good night, wherever you guys are listening to us and watching us around the world. And we'll catch you guys.
Nice.
Nice. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.